Give yourself away. Give yourself away. Let go. Give yourself away. Give yourself away. Let go. Let go. Let go. Let go. Let go. Surrender to the power of the one. Surrender to the power of the one. Give yourself away. Give yourself away. Let go. Give yourself away. Give yourself away. Let go. Let go. Let go. Let go. Let go. Surrender to the power of the one. Surrender to the power of the one.
Surrender. Allow yourself to surrender to the power of the one. Allow yourself to breathe, to relax. Allow yourself to be in this energy, this healing energy of love, this healing energy of faith. I invite you to feel it. We come here today to experience the goodness of God. We come to connect heart to heart with others. Oh, maybe you just came because you felt like you oughta or should. From that place, there is a longing to know God. From that place, I invite you to open your heart, to open your mind to the possibility of something greater in your life right here, right now, today. I don't know what it is that you've been hoping for, dreaming about, setting intentions for. Hold the knowing of that this day. The possibility of when you walk out of here today, you experience that your heart calls for. So I invite you to go within to that sacred place. That sacred place within where you can go and shut the door to listen. To listen to divine guidance. To listen. As we listen, allow that place of gratitude to bubble up. Allow yourself to feel gratitude for everything that has been in your life and everything that is to be in your life. Allow yourself the joy of gratitude. Oh, everything may not have been the way you would like, and yet there is room for gratitude for what you are today. For today, we say thank you. I invite you to join with me in a thank you. Together, thank you. And again, thank you. And so it is. Amen. So as our Unity singers get together and ready for their song, I'm going to quickly say that there's a few things you want to know about. One is our Let the Inner Goddess Play workshop that is coming up this Sunday. It is the creative power of the woman. It is celebrating the goddess through creativity. So that will be this next weekend. There are brochures outside. If you want to know more about it, you can see Linda or myself. I am the person that will be facilitating it. And what I can tell you, women, is it's going to be fun. And is there one more thing that I'm supposed to make sure people knew, Linda?
The forgiveness workshop?
The forgiveness workshop. If you've been talking about forgiveness and saying you've been forgiven and you know all about forgiveness, I invite you to our forgiveness workshop. It is, yes, it is an experience that, well, just come. It is the third Saturday in March, so I invite you. Board nominations. If you are interested, feel called to serve on the board, please pick up one of the applications out front. It will give you the information about what requirements are necessary, needed, and if you're called to do it, please do so. Please fill it out, return it. You can put it into the copper bowl. You can put it into the office slot over there. We have 2 people who are rolling off the board, and so that we have. Choir practice next Sunday. Thank you. Choir practice next Sunday for all who are interested. It will be for all the weeks in March right after service. All right. Back.
Come together, together as one. Breathe in the universal soul. Come together, together as one. Breathe in the universal soul. Come together, together as one. Breathe in the universal soul. Come together, together as one. Breathe in the universal soul. I dissolve the lines of separation. I intermingle with the light. Let love run throughout the nation. Let heart and mind unite. Come together, together as one. Breathe in the universal soul. Come together, together as one. Breathe in the universal soul. Come together, together as one. Breathe in the universal soul. Come together, together as one. Breathe in the universal soul. Join your hearts together. Join your hands as one. All a part of the great I am. Join your hearts together. Join your hands as one. All a part of the great I am. Join your heart together. Join your hands. All a part of the great I am. Here we go. Come together. 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 Come together.
Morning again. It is wonderful to see each and every one of you here and for us to be together. I feel it. You feel it? Did you feel that music? Yeah. Well, today I have an opportunity to talk about one of my favorite Bible stories. It was kind of fun because usually I have a series set up and I have to follow that series. And suddenly I had so many, I was like, okay, you can do a Bible story. Oh, but I have all these Bible stories I want to do. You know, there's the Bible story of climbing Jacob's ladder. What a fun one that is. Just on it goes. However, I had to choose one. And so we're going to talk about Joshua and the walls of Jericho. Before I get started on that, how many of you watched part of the Olympics, some of the Olympics? Yeah, a lot of people watch some Olympics. Those Olympians are amazing. Do you realize what they go through to arrive at the Olympics to perform, to be a part of it. And so often they have experiences along the way where they have a injury that sets them back, or something happens and they're disqualified for 4 years, and they have to wait for 4 years to come back. There were people that were in wheelchairs. One of the dancers was in wheelchairs a year before she was out ice skating. Amazing, amazing stuff. And so often they started at very early ages, like 4, 5, 6. And they began to practice. And they've practiced. And they've practiced. And they've set an intention. And they've been aware of what they wanted. And they said even early on, they might say, I want to go to the Olympics. That's what I want. As they would see the Olympians compete. It's amazing. And so they practiced. And they practiced. And they got out and they remained dedicated to that, what they wanted. Now, I was about 8 years old the first time that I felt I was called to be a minister, but, women can't do that. Well, they couldn't back then. So I just quickly gave that up. I didn't continue to dream of that, and it wasn't until I'd had another career that I went, oh, that calling is still there. These Olympians stay with it. Do you have a dream? Do you have a dream that has been calling you and you say, oh, no, I'm too old, or I don't have enough money, or it would require this and I don't have that? Is there something that you've been longing to do, but you've had excuses? You've put up walls between you and that dream. Let's just look a little bit. Let's look at the story of the fall of the walls. So this is from Joshua 5:13 to 6:27. So when Joshua was near Jericho, he looked up and he saw a man standing in front of him with a drawn sword in his hand. And Joshua went up to him and asked, are you for us? Are you an enemy? Now I want to ask, if this were your story, and you saw someone with a sword, might you ask, are you for me or are you against me? Where are you? And would you let that stand in your way? Or might you see them and say, whoops, I'm on the wrong path. This is surely a sign I'm supposed to turn away. This isn't what happened. This isn't what happened. So Joshua was the person who that followed Moses to bring the children of Israel out of the darkness of Egypt into the promised land. So here these folks are going to the promised land. You mean that place that we know, that place where our dreams are manifest, that place where we experience the peace of God? Are we willing to go to the kingdom of God? I am. I hope you are. So, back to the story. The person replied, neither, but as the commander of the army of the Lord, I now come. And then Joshua fell down on the ground in reverence and asked, what message does the Lord have for me, his servant? And the commander of the Lord's army replied, take off your shoes, for the place where you are standing is holy. And Joshua did. Have you come to that place that is holy? And are you willing to follow your guidance? Are you willing to listen to those words? Whatever they are, take off your shoe, give up something, let go, move forward. Let go of a fear that's been just holding you back. So, the gates of Jericho were secure. They were locked, they were barred, so that the Israelites could not come in. And then the Lord said to Joshua, see, I have delivered Jericho into your hands, along with the king and its fighting men. March around the city once with all the armed men. Do this for 6 days, and have 7 priests carry trumpets of rams. in front of the ark. And on the seventh day, march around the city 7 times, and with the priest blowing the trumpets. And when you hear them sound a long blast on the trumpets, have the whole army give a loud shout, and then the walls of the city will collapse, and the army will go up, and everyone straight in. Now you might be saying to yourself, why is this woman up there talking about something that happened so long ago and has nothing to do with me? But you see, the Bible is really about us, even those old ancient stories. So we get to look at, so where does this speak to me, and how does it speak to me, and what's it to do with me? So Joshua did exactly what he was told. He asked that the ark of the covenant of the Lord be taken up, and that 7 priests carried in front of it with trumpets. And they advanced, they marched around the city, and the armed guards continued on. Now, about 5 or 6 days, these folks marching around were getting a little tired, and they were going, oh, come on. If the walls are going to fall, why aren't they going to go ahead and fall? We don't have to do this 7 times, do we? I'm ready. Anybody in here ever feel a little impatient with the process? You see, this is a process, and we have these processes that we get to go through, these learning experiences, this walking that we do to experience the promised land. Now, I don't know about you, but when something's really easy, I may not fully appreciate it. But when something means so much to me that I continue to step forward to live there, to be there, to experience that, I have a lot more reverence for it. I think that's what was happening here. There was a practice. And I know most of you have your practices. I know most of you get up every morning and meditate. Well, maybe 5 mornings. I don't know. But I know that you have that knowing of a practice. And I feel certain that you are following that. And here's the reason why. Because we don't get it in one day. Now, these walls, just want to show you what they might have looked like. Yes, remember I have to wait a moment for it to move. So these walls were around the city. They were huge. They were very thick. The city was up high so it could look down and defend itself. If you were going to build a wall, wouldn't you want it to be around a city that was up high so you could look down and defend yourself? There we go. So the walls of Jericho. Were large and thick. And as they collapsed and tumbled down, they probably began to look like this, a holy mess, if you will. However, this is what they looked like in the beginning. They have taken and rebuilt some of them. And so this is what they would be like, and you can see that today. So, the priest, they symbolized our faith in the power of spirit through which understanding of mind action was established. So you might ask, why were these priests walking in front and blowing their horns and being a part of this? Because they represented mind action. That's one of our 5 principles. It's the 4th principle, the law of mind, or 3rd principle, law of mind action. So that we focus on becomes a reality, does it not? This is what the wall looks like in parts of the world today where they have fallen down. So the whole experience of Jericho was about faith. It was about a statement of faith for those who enter into the joys of the promised land, that is spiritual realization, do so by having faith in Spirit as the one reality that is active in man, and by gaining the understanding of divine law. So it's important that we get what we're about. We don't just come here for Sundays because we enjoy everybody and, oh, maybe we do. But there's more to that. We also have the opportunity to learn and to put this spiritual vibration into our lives. Joshua, who was who came after Moses to lead the people into the promised land, was a man that was about going forth, carrying the message. And the Israelites represented illumined thoughts and consciousness, undergoing spiritual discipline. So that's what we're about. We're about undergoing spiritual discipline. It's not a bad word, that discipline. It's about receiving and transforming from sense consciousness into spiritual consciousness. Going from that place where we're so attached to what's happening here in this world to being aware that God is in everything. It doesn't take away our experiences here. It doesn't make them go away. It just allows us to have a deeper understanding of what's going on around us and why. It's an opportunity to celebrate each day, to find that place of spirit. So Joshua spoke to the people. They went around, they did exactly what was supposed to be done, and they spent 7 days doing it. Now, 7 is an important number, for it is a number that represents our completion. It represents that place within us that we are able to understand. It is that place where we get, it's the time that we experience transformation. So we don't usually get things the first time, the second time, the third time. I don't know about you, but there have been books that I've read that I am sure they change the words every time I read it. There are experiences I've had that continue to surprise me. And that's what we're talking about here. We sometimes have to show up time and time again to really get the importance of this lesson, this journey that we're on. So the trumpet sounded, the walls fell down, and everything opened up in the promised land. Do you have walls in your life? Are you willing to let them come down? Are you willing to put into practice that nourishes you spiritually? Are you willing? You see, some people say this is a miracle and this story could have nothing to do with me current time. But in truth, we actually have demonstrations spiritually based that show us, indeed, there could have been this. So let's just watch this young lady for a moment and watch a spiritual demonstration, a scientific demonstration. I know you've got it, Pat. So that is pretty cute because she breaks the glass and then it reverses so we can see it both ways. So have you ever tried to break glass with your voice? Because that's what happened. These soldiers and the priest went around the walls, and when they made a sound, when they celebrated, when they gave thanks, the walls came tumbling down. But it took 7 days. It took 7 days. So if there's something that you dream of doing, I invite you to continue, to walk with that, to trust it, to sing and give thanks, for indeed the miracle can happen. It is about being in harmony. Now, I looked at a lot of YouTube films to find one that was short and to the point. There was one young man who spent 8 hours in one day, 6 or 8 hours, I really don't remember, practicing trying to break a wine glass. And he would do it until he would get hoarse, and he'd go away and he'd drink water and come back. He would try again. When it finally broke, he was so excited that he could hardly stand it. He said, I guess I didn't really believe that it was going to happen, even though I knew scientifically it was possible. So sometimes we're in that place. We know that it's possible, but we begin to doubt a little bit. It is the vibrations that broke the glass. It is the vibrations that break our wall. It is the vibration of love, of faith, of truly holding together that spiritual practice. That truly holding together that spiritual practice. So the power of vibration, the sound, changes us so much. And so this is the Old Testament, and maybe again, you don't really think so much of the Old Testament, but I say again, it is our story. It is our story. And if we should forget that, we can remember that Jesus, our way shower, also demonstrated the power of the word. Because he called forth Lazarus. Lazarus was dead. He cried, and then he called forth, he used his words, Lazarus, come here. And he did. He came. He was healed. So we too have the opportunity to speak with authority in our lives. When those doubts and thoughts and walls come up, we have the opportunity to say, get thee behind me, I don't believe you, and to affirm the goodness and to affirm that we can go beyond the sense world into a deeper, deeper understanding of the spiritual world. So let's just quickly look at what they did. They prayed. They put God first. They followed their guidance. They practiced. They practiced and practiced and practiced. They were disciplined. And this 7 was this adding of the voice and praising God. They did something. They didn't just sit around and go, oh, poor us. They got up and did something. Sometimes I just want to stay home and have it happen around me. But it is important for me to do what is mine to do. They broke down the walls of fear that were set up. They broke down the walls to get into a higher understanding. So we let go of that argument that we have in our heads. We open our hearts to the new universe that is there. We experience the fullness of life. So Charles Fillmore says that we may have struggled believing that we can take down the walls. However, what we can do is vibrate in our bodies. And this lesson is a lesson of current day. So let's practice vibrations that will free us. So I'm going to affirm this, and I'll ask you to affirm it with me. I am free with the freedom of spirit. Together. I am free with the freedom of spirit. Again. I am free with the freedom of spirit. I release and I let go. I release and I let go. And again, I release and I let go. And you get to fill in the blank of what you let go of. I release and I let go. I am free to live in the promised land. Together. I am free to live in the promised land. I am free to live in the promised land. Let's say that with real enthusiasm. I am free to live in the promised land. And so we live in harmony. And we choose to feel the vibration of love, to feel the vibration of God's energy, and to live from the space of peace and joy. God bless you.